Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 3 and today we will be discussing the government role in developing small and medium enterprises SME. We will start the presentation with introduction, then we will be discussing the government or ministry involved, the issues, current government initiative, solution and recommendation, Islamic perspective, and finally the conclusion. Okay, so what is SME? A business will be deemed as a SME if it meets either one of the two specified qualifying criteria, namely sales turnover or full-time employees, whichever is lower. There are three categories of enterprises in SME, which is micro, small, and medium, and these categories is determined based on the total sales turnover for the year or the number of employees, full-time employees. For micro enterprises, the sales turnover should be less than 300,000 ringgit Malaysia or employees up to 5. It is applicable for both manufacturing or services and other sectors. For small enterprises, the sales turnover should be between 300,000 ringgit Malaysia up to 50 million ringgit Malaysia or employees between 5 up to 74 for manufacturing businesses. The sales turnover between 300,000 ringgit Malaysia up to 3 million ringgit Malaysia or employees between 5 to 29 for services and other sectors. For medium enterprises, the sales turnover should be between 50 million ringgit Malaysia up to 50 million ringgit Malaysia or employees between 75 up to 200 for manufacturing businesses, and sales turnover between 3 million ringgit Malaysia up to 20 million ringgit Malaysia or employees between 30 to 75 for services and other sectors. Next, we will be discussing the Ministry or Government Agency involved. First, Ministry of Entrepreneurs, Development and Cooperation, MEDAC, Ministry of International Trade and Industry, METI, Malaysia External Trade Development Corporation, MATRADE, Malaysia Investment Development Authority, MIDA, and SME Corporation Malaysia.
Nabila, I think I want to open up a business and build a company. What do you think?
I think you need to rethink.
Why?
Because there's so many issues and challenges in the SME sector.
Here are some of the issues and challenges in SMEs. One of the main issues in SMEs is the lack of financing or difficulties in securing funds. This is because SME poses a high risk to financial institutions. Such as the size of the firm influences the level of difficulty in raising money. Many banks prefer to allocate their resources to large enterprises rather than to SMEs. The reason is because SMEs has a potential to incur losses persistently and default on payments. Meanwhile, large enterprises have a lower risk of default and their financial statements are clear. Besides that, most SMEs do not have a credible collateral as a security in case of default. Banks usually requires collateral which equals to the amount of financing. Moreover, the opacity of SMEs has also made it difficult in securing financing. Credit officers usually demand SMEs to provide financial track records or supporting documents. The officers are obliged to conduct 5 C's framework of credit analysis consisting of capacity, capital, collateral, conditions, and character to evaluate the prospective SME creditworthiness before any loan approval. This is because SMEs usually do not have current audited financial statements, so it is difficult for them to ascertain their capability or ability to repay a loan and at the same time to build up a good reputation and relationship with financial institutions. The other issue in SMEs is the dilemmas in adopting technology. Some of the factors that contribute to this problem is firstly, the owner-manager's characteristics. Some SME owners with poor IT knowledge and skills are not in favor to adopt technologies in their system. Secondly, they are unaware of the prominence of IT and technology. They fail to notice that technology is more efficient and provides a competitive advantage. Lastly, it is costly to implement and maintain these technologies. The cost would outweigh the benefits and no financial assistance are provided by the banks.
But we have the government to help us, right?
You may not be aware of this, but there are some problems in government assistance programs. First of all, is the ineffective marketing. The marketing method used is mass marketing instead of a more proactive approach. Hence, the benefits and importance of the programs are not clearly relayed to the entrepreneurs. Consequently, many business owners are unaware of such assistance being provided and struggle to survive. Some may not even be interested because they did not notice the highlights of the program. Next are the redundant initiatives. There are too many ministries and government agencies involved in assistance programs for SMEs. For example, the Ministry of Entrepreneurship and Cooperative Development, the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, SME Bank, along with 26 other agencies providing financial assistance. Furthermore, they have structured the program into various categories, making it difficult to understand. Not only that, division of the fund by the government to the variety of ministries and agencies have caused unnecessary waste and inefficiency and inhibits the plans for effective programs like building an entrepreneurship college. Lastly, there are negative perceptions towards the programs. This is due to the implementation of the affirmative policy, the new economic policy, and the concept of Malay dominance. They were seen as special rights granted to Bumiputras and have limited the opportunity of the Malaysian non-Bumiputra in getting assistance, therefore leading to the reluctance of applications from non-Bumiputra. Subsequently, it has created the Alibaba culture, whereby they borrow the identity of Malay to apply for contracts and grants from the government or to buy over the contracts awarded to Malay businessmen and manage the contracts to get huge profit.
Okay, now we will discuss about what has the government done to help SME. First, there is Malaysia's business stimulus package. To protect the economy and mitigate the impact of the pandemic, the government has set forth a 250 billion ringgit Malaysia for Malaysia's Prihatin Rakyat Economic Stimulus Package, Prihatin, on the 27th of March 2020. Then in April, an additional of 10 billion ringgit Malaysia Stimulus Package for SME is unveiled. These stimulus are used for the following initiative. First, higher wage subsidies. Second, the government introduced a Prihatin special grant worth 2.1 billion ringgit Malaysia that allocates 3,000 ringgit Malaysia to micro enterprises. Third, Bank Simpanan Nasional and Tekun Nasional were converted to abolish interest rates attached with the loans. Fourth, a 6-month moratorium for business loans. Fifth, a rental discounts or full waivers for SMEs in the retail sector operating on GLC's premises. And finally, the extension of financial statement filing. Next, the government also provided grants for funding for SME such as soft loans for SME, soft loans for scheme for services sector, Young Entrepreneurs Fund, Bumiputra Enterprise Enhancement Program, SMEs Emergency Funds and Prosper Usahawan Muda. Finally, there are specialized SME grants including Business Scale Up Program that aim to help SMEs scale up and to grow and expand both locally and globally, and Smart Automation Grant Penjana aim to help SMEs to kickstart their digital adoption journey and to survive the online world.
Don't you worry, guys, we have solutions for the issues.
One of the solutions is government should encourage localism by doing more campaign buy local. The government should encourage the people to buy local in order to help the SMEs survive the tough times like the pandemic. They should have a campaign buy local in order to let the people know about this incentive. Conventional sales and promotional events will not create sufficient hype for the campaign. They need to develop strategies on how to market the campaign. The strategies can be done through promotional and marketing channels, among them social media, media marketing, online sales, and campaigns via marketplaces to create awareness among Malaysians to support local products to boost the economy. Even before this, SMEs are already using e-commerce to promote their products. However, the partnership between SMEs and the government hasn't been done comprehensively. The government already collaborated with Lazada last year, and the collaboration was successful. It recorded a 38% increase in sales of local products on the platform. Therefore, the government should also collaborate with other marketplaces such as Shopee, GoShop, Zalora, and other SMEs. The Ministry, on collaboration with these marketplaces, can apply initiatives and incentives such as promotions, redeemable vouchers, sales discount, lucky draws, and giveaways to attract Malaysians to buy local products. In order for SMEs to prepare for this campaign, the government needs to encourage local entrepreneurs to adhere to certain standards and maintain the quality of products and services to meet customers' expectations. They need to ensure that local products and services are of the same quality or even better than imported products. This is crucial to change the perception of customers to Malaysian-made products. They need to build up customers' confidence as well as realign their mindsets to see that local products are on par with imported goods so that people will buy more from SMEs. The second solution is government should provide advice and support service as well as marketing for SMEs. Government should create a support group that provides advice and mentoring to the SMEs. By having a support group, it will help small businesses to improve and grow. They might need advice and guidance, and by having a support group, everything is there. The support group should bring together a broad range of expertise so that a business can get the right advice and support to fulfill their growth potential. A business advisor will help in various ways, from developing a business plan or new products to help in understanding different funding options or breaking into new markets. They should also offer a tailored package of support to help access to finance, develop and market new ideas, improve manufacturing processes, and connect with a network of ambitious business leaders. They should also provide a helpline that is available 24 hours who can offer advice about starting up a business, how to maintain the business, and any questions related to the business. They should also create a finder tool which is searchable for SMEs that include grants, finance, loans, funding for SMEs, and many more. For the marketing part, SMEs might face challenges concerning marketing and selling their products. Some entrepreneurs lack knowledge in this area and do not know how to market their products. Business consulting available is expensive, and many SMEs cannot afford to consult them. To address this issue, government should also provide a support service that focuses on marketing. They should provide marketing consulting services for SMEs at a relatively low cost so that they can afford to pay them for consultation. The government can also help organize and subsidize networking, conferences, and other events where SMEs can participate at much lower cost than a regular commercial event. The third solution is a government should ensure the easy access to finance for SMEs. Even though the Malaysian government has allocated funds for the SMEs and delivered it through its agencies, there are many complaints by SMEs regarding the difficult qualification criteria for accessing these funds and the bureaucracy in these agencies. Besides difficulties in meeting the requirements for these funds, SMEs are also having difficulties because of transparency issues such as poor credit worthiness, weak recording of financial accounts, or lack of business viability. The issue of financing gaps or hard to access funds in SMEs financing is common. The issue of financing gap arises due to the mismatch between the demand and supply of institutional funds for SMEs. SMEs contend that finance for SMEs are abundant, but the supply of bank financing is largely unavailable to them. It is difficult for them to evaluate SMEs since they often do not have a solid accounting system. Many banks prefer to lend to large enterprises rather than SMEs. To address this issue, the government should encourage that every bank could consider setting up an SME division or department to provide specialized services to SMEs. Even though banks may be faced with constraints, they should do active banking by mobilizing resources and distributing them to needy SMEs. The bank should also be urged to take the risk in vetting loans applications for SMEs, especially for business ventures in new areas. In urging the banks to take the risk, the government should institute some form of tax incentives to banks involved in SMEs lending. This will encourage others to consider the option of lending to SMEs. The President of Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers, Tan Sri Soh Tian Lai, mentioned the government policies should be intended for the targeted audience. For instance, the role of development financial institutions should be to lend to SMEs based on cash flow rather than purely collateral. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose as funding ends up with SMEs that are subsidiaries of public limited companies and government-linked companies. Other than that, the government should also make sure the credit committee targets the viability of the project or business rather than how much asset they can pledge. The SME Malaysian National President, Datuk Kang Hwa Keong, also mentioned that SMEs will be better supported if the government allocates more budget for the market development grant, offer tax rebate, or a special income tax rate. By doing all this, it will be easier for SMEs to access financing. See, there are always solutions to any problems, so don't worry. You can go and set up your company and do your business, and good luck!
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nada Shohada and I will present on the Islamic perspective. So, as the leader of the country, the government needs to nurture the practices of good governance. To be a good governance, the government must observe the quality of good leadership. As mentioned in the Quran in Surah Al-Anbiya verse 73, and we made them leaders, guiding men by our command, and we send them inspiration to do good deeds, to establish regular prayers, and to practice regular charity, and they constantly serve us, and only us. From this verse, we can conclude that every leader should always abide by the ways of doing leadership supported by the Holy Quran. Leadership in Islam is rooted in belief and willing submission to the Creator Allah. The good leadership will provide prosperity for its people for the present and the future of Hasanah fil al-dunya wa al-akhirah. When the leader has the quality of good leadership, they will automatically be accountable to their deeds. In this context, the government is accountable to protect the interests of the public. As the leaders have strong control on the country from top to bottom, they are accountable to change the way of business held based on the needs. As for this topic, the government should help the small and medium enterprise business because it is their accountability in the process of helping increase people's standard of life. This interest is specifically focused on Maqasid al-Sharia. So the most related Maqasid al-Sharia in this context is the protection of life. So the main objective of this protection is to protect social justice, good governance, reduce the rate of poverty, and equality in every aspect of human life. Small medium enterprise may not be as successful as big company, but if the attention is prioritized more on them, the industry will actually help in improving the economy of the country. SMEs and big companies should receive the same treatment. So in Surah An-Nisa verse 135, O you who believe, stand out firmly for justice as witness to Allah, even as against yourself or your parents or your kin, and whether it be against rich or poor, for Allah can best protect both. Follow not the lust of your heart lest you swerve, and if you distort justice or decline to do justice, verily Allah is well acquainted with all that you do. So to relate this verse in the context of government, they need to observe the equality of citizens, whether the company contributes the most to the government or less or neither both. without realizing it will automatically improve the standard living of the citizen either in the rural area or the urban area. In a conclusion, the government plays a big role in developing the small-medium enterprise business. The contribution of the government to an SME will lead to the increase in the sales and profit of the SMEs as their product and services are being more recognized by the local citizen, and if they are lucky enough, it will go overseas. When the allocation of resource to the SME is fully utilized, the economy of the country will increase. In line with that, the GDP of the country also increased as they receive additional contribution of revenue from SMEs. When the economy increases, the job employment will increase too. This will lead to reducing poverty among the people. This is in line with Sustainable Development Goals SDG number 1, which is no poverty. Although it may be impossible to discard poverty completely, at least the government can help increase the standard living of peoples in the country. Lastly, government also plays a big role in providing conducive environment for Muslims to practice Islam, as we live in a country that have many races and religions. Who knows, if Muslims practice a good Islam, it will attract non-Muslims and they eventually will follow the Islamic guidelines too. So that's all from our group. Thank you for listening.